So let's start with today's session. So today is day 4 of the 12-day practice, and it's almost 8 o'clock in the morning. And let's start with the English sectional mock test. Either we go to the park and have a picnic, or we watch a movie at the cinema, but neither option appeals on me. Both the cat and the dog are not at all interested in playing fetch with the little girl, lounging lazily in the shade with half closed eyes. Lazily in the shade. अंदर द शेड होता है ना. पता नहीं भाई. Both the sunrise as well as cast a mesmerizing glow, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, a symphony of nature's beauty. Our clever parrot, which mimics our words and laughter with remarkable accuracy, brings endless entertainment and companionship to our guests and family alike. To guests and family alike. The Indian government's plan to invest 100 crore in infrastructure development over the next 5 years is expected to a major boost to the country's economy as well as and also create lakhs of jobs as well as create lakhs of new jobs along with creating lakhs of new job opportunities. The recent surge in crude oil prices has led to an increase होता है increase in the prices of petrol and diesel in the country. The ISRO successfully launched the Chandrayaan 3 mission in a major milestone in the country's space program which demonstrates India's growing capabilities in technology. Government decision to merge several public sector banks is aimed at creating a stronger and more competitive banking system which will enable banks to provide better services to its customers, which will enable banks to provide better services to its customers. Similar to है, which will enable banks. Mm-hmm. It will enable banks to provide better service to its customer. अच्छा इसमें कॉमा है ना, इसमें कॉमा नहीं, ये तीनों में कॉमा नहीं है, तो to its customer, to its customers. Enable banks. That will enable banks. Books are our best companions, despite a poorly regulated leading ensuring education. Will finding an unexpected part-time career ensures adequate funding for नहीं leading to mischief despite a poorly regulated. C के साथ होगा F. This narrative has enabled a surge in lending despite poor regulated financial sector. This narrative has enabled surge in lending. Surge in India mishap with the library. Controlling obesity and diabetes is crucial. नहीं, small act of kindness and empathetic gestures. Promote billion radio sharing. State must take necessary measures to foster culture of empathy in communities. C का E, C का D, टू विथ नहीं होगा. सी का तो एक ही है तो बी वाला ही होगा. बी एफ. Small act of kindness and empathetic gestures foster a culture of empathy in communities. Promote the billion dollar sharing नहीं होगा. बी का ही होगा. It's a sacred moment to express gratitude. Empathy bridges the gap between individuals and getting on the same page requires time and effort. Forced to prioritize number of human relationships take time to bloom and getting on the same page requires time and effort. CD. It's a sacred moment to express gratitude. School inadvertently fuel cutthroat competition, pitting students against each other relentlessly. CD. BD BD BD. This model not only fosters innovation but also promotes efficiency. As individuals evolve and industries evolve, many organizations are transitioning toward hierarchical. Consequently, this the shift is as industries evolve. B से start होगा. As industry, many organizations are transitioning from traditional hierarchical structure to more collaborative and decentralized system. The shift is driven by the need to remain competitive in an increasingly dynamic and interconnected global market. B के साथ E होगा पेयर. This model This model not only fosters innovation but also promotes decentralized courage, open communication, empower employees to make decisions and create an environment. Traditional manufacturing promote collaboration design. This decentralized system promotes E के साथ ए के साथ ए बी के साथ तेरा ये होगा डी. बी डी ई ए सी. Consequently, companies that embrace the बी के साथ हरकत होता more collaborative decentralized system. This decentralized system encourages open communication. B के साथ D होगा. The shift is driven by the need to remain competitive. This model not only fosters innovation but also provides efficiency. E के साथ A B D. This shift shift है ना. B से तो start होगा. ये तो बाद में आएगा लास्ट सेकंड. बी डी देखते हैं गलत हो तो गलत. बी डी ई ए सी. The team's performance was dashed in all matches but was terrible in the finale. I have the entire room for the toy, but my sister, I have ransacked the entire room for the but my sister has hidden it. As regards their dash distribution in India, as regards their present distribution in India, elephants are found in the temperature falls to a comparatively low point. The author spent years to research for his novel, hoping The engineer tasked with designing a new railway bridge to replace the old one which had become unsafe. Tasked designing new railway bridge to replace the old one that had become correct. The scientists worked late into the night analyzing data from their latest experiment. Editing composition bacha hai. Arey baap re. Scientists have recently discovered an interesting survival technique used by emperor penguins, one of the most well-known species in Antarctica, to handle the extreme cold. According to the study published in the Biological Letters, the penguin minimize heat loss by ensuring that the outer surface of their feathers remain cooler than the surrounding air. At the same time, the thick plumage provides insulating insulation, helping to keep the body warm. The research team studied thermographic images over a month in June 2008, during which an average air temperature was only 0.32 Fahrenheit degree Fahrenheit. The man with the outer feathers of penguin were colder than the air, with the surface temperature at the feet averaging 1.76 degree Fahrenheit, while their head, chest, back measures around -1, -1. What is the average air temperature during the study in June 2008? 0.32. What is the main difference in thermal radiation and thermal convection? Below is an example Eisenberg. The researchers also continued computer simulation to calculate the heat exchange between the penguin bodies and the surrounding simulation by keeping the penguins could potentially absorb tiny amounts of heat in the environment around them. This process involves two forms of heat transfer: radiation convection to the surrounding air through thermal radiation, where heat moves from warmer materials to colder ones. To except with this, they rely on their metabolism to maintain the body temperature. However, the penguins plumage play a crucial role. Since their outer fixtures are colder than the air, the stimulation showed penguins could gain a small amount of heat back through thermal convection. Inverse direct contact, the process by which heat transfers via moving air. Thermal as cold air circulates. The cold air circulates around the body, slightly warmer air touches the plumage, giving up small amounts of heat before moving away. Mostly thermal radiation, convection of air, thermal radiation. Lose heat from the body to surrounding earth with thermal radiation. Makes heat from armor to powder. Lose heat from their body to the surrounding. Why convection of heat in air is weak. Air. Researchers found that the keeping outer plumage breathing and propelling a small amount of heat through below cooling up. Process below cooling. Radiation and convection. Thermal radiation, thermal convection. Mm, Convection. Which of the following statement about emperor penguins and their heat conservation technique implement minimize heat loss by ensuring that the outer surface of their feathers remain warmer than the ये गलत है एवरेज टेम्परेचर during 0.32 सेकंड वाला सही है the surface temperature of penguin was below freezing except the eyes and beaks only 2 and 3 What is the primary benefit of penguins? Heat conservation method. It allows them to maintain body temperature during helps them stay warmer than other. It prevents them from needing to. It allows them to help them stay warmer than other species. To handle extreme cold. It allows them to maintain heat loss during helping them keep their body warm. Okay. Why is conserving heat particularly important for emperor penguins? Because they are exposed to extreme temperatures during the breeding cycle. Because the fast during the incubation period and I'm demanding given emperor penguin demanding breeding cycle, any heat conservation during the 64 incubation may male penguins take up to most of this heat regain likely doesn't penetrate to the future settlement, but it does help offset some of the heat loss given the emperor penguin demanding breeding cycle. Any heat conservation is valid 64 incubation period. They fast penguin trek up to 75 coast and don't eat, making calorie conservation. During the and have a demanding breeding cycle. They expose both C and D होगा शायद. देखते हैं 30% तो कर दिए गलत कितना हुआ वो देखते हैं 5-6 होगा शायद मोस्ट प्रोबेबली चौथे से कौन सा होगा 5 या 6 5 या 6 5 या 6 नो हो गया बाप रे बाप आरसी में गलत हुआ हाँ पैसेज में गलत बी ई डी ए सी हाँ बी ई डी बी के बाद ई होगा द शिफ्ट इज गिवन फिर डी होगा मेरे को लगा था ऐसे ही कुछ होगा both the cat and the dog neither the cat nor the dog not clever who mimics our word our clever word which mimics our who mimics इजी था क्वेश्चन समझ में आ गया पैसेज में गलती नहीं हुआ है बस तेरा वो पैराजंबल में गलती हुआ है और वो थोड़ा बहुत विच का जगह हु होना चाहिए था सिंगल पर्सन है ना विच नहीं होना चाहिए उसके लिए कोई बात नहीं होता है इट हैपेंस चलो थोड़ा एडिटोरियल पढ़ लेते हैं आज का time for action on the RBI pausing rate cuts. The RBI did well to pause rate cut amid certainties. RBI Monetary Policy Committee was sensible to pause its rate cuts as announced on Wednesday, the 6th August 2025. RBI Governor Sanjay Malhotra rightly pointed out that the uncertainties surrounding tariffs are still evolving and that the 100 basis point of rate cut implemented since February 2020 are still percolating through the system. Mr. Malhotra's statement was made before US President Donald Trump approved an additional 25% tariff on import for India over the above and the existing 25% reciprocal tariffs. However, his assessment that the matter is far from over was nevertheless accurate. India is still in the process of negotiating a bilateral trade agreement with the US and the final tariffs are far from decided. In the meantime, Mr. Trump has already indicated that similar additional tariffs penalties for buying oil from Russia may be imposed on other countries as well, which will impact India's comparative advantage, leaving room for another rate cut later in the year when things might be clearer. Thus, was the sensible thing to do. The other broad reason why the pause makes sense is that it allows the RBI to see whether such monetary measures are working. 100 basis point cumulative cut in rate over the last 6 months is significant, and the banking system needs time to pass that on to borrowers. The governor also pointed out that there is ample liquidity in the system, which means the banks have the money to lend. The question, however, is whether there is enough growth related borrowing happening. RBI data showed that as of end June, loan to purchase consumer durables had contracted about 3% compared to the previous year. Growth in housing loans slowed sharply to 9.6 from 36% a year earlier, which while vehicle loan too slowed by 5% point over the last year. In line with the subdued demand outlook, companies too seem to be slowing their borrowing. Loans to industry grew 5.5% in June 2025, down from 8.1% in June last year. Simply reducing rates, therefore, is not enough, and that is something the governor alluded to when he said stronger policy frameworks across domains and not just limiting to monetary policy would be pivotal in achieving India's growth potential. The government has to intervene in a more focused manner than just increasing capital expenditure across the board. A lot can be done through tax. The goods and service tax rationalization that was promised earlier promised several times is long overdue. The reduction in fuel price in line with lower oil prices too will lift consumer sentiment. The RBI can for the moment afford to wait things out. The government does not have this luxury. Hmm, ये वाला पढ़ चुके हैं ऑलरेडी, इसको रख देते हैं, तो अभी के लिए इतना ही रखते हैं।